Thank you for the introduction. So, yes, as the beautiful MC has introduced me, we're going to talk today about the power of emotional intelligence. But first of all, yes, I would like to introduce myself. That's okay if you go with my first name. The last name is really hard to comprehend for the foreigners. The same way it's hard to comprehend for me, like some of the Indian names. So we're like equal here. As has been mentioned, I work as a project manager at a headquarters company. And as you probably know, most of you, if not all, haven't worked with project managers. But project managers are not only about like timelines and deadlines and milestones, but there is another human factor that we come across on a daily basis, and that is communication and getting along with people. That is the art of effective communication and fostering meaningful connections between companies. And communications is, in its essence, is impossible without emotions of various kinds. And that's what I actually would like to talk about. The topic is quite widely discussed and concerned in different spheres of our life, especially in IT, which is called emotional intelligence. So my topic today will be about the emotional intelligence and its power for future-forward leadership. But before I start, let me introduce the agenda, what we are going to come through today. We'll start with a short introduction, then we move forward to the definition of what emotional intelligence really is. Smoothly forward to the state of emotional intelligence in our current VUCA world, I would say. Then we move to the core competencies of EQ, what EQ really consists of. The ways to improve emotional intelligence, and in general, what benefits can EQ bring for the leaders and its role in the future world. So I would like to start with this kind of joke, which you can look through. Actually, it's half joke, but it kind of illustrates one of the leadership patterns that we come across in our working environment. Here is the time for an honest self-appraisal, I would say. Would most of people who you worked with say that you bring out the worst or the best in them? So who of you have brought out the worst in people? I came across it, so I can raise the hand. And who can say that you have brought the best in them? Oh, nice. Good, couple of hands. So when I reflect on my own career path, I can say that there was a time when I faced poor and bad management relationship, and I provide you with one example. I used to work as a teacher, and I've been working as a teacher for 8 years, and during these 8 years, there wasn't a day when I took a sick day. There wasn't even once. But then my uncle unexpectedly died, and I was asking for a couple of sick days leave just to go to the funeral, you know, and I wasn't allowed to do it. Like never in my 8 years, I took a single sick day off, and then I wasn't allowed like to take 2 days off. Like it wasn't because I was going on a vacation, you know. So that's kind of example that's the environment we can all work with, and the leaders or CEOs we can have. And for most of us, it's easy to name individuals who have brought out the best of us, and maybe even easier to name the people who have brought the worst in us. Because of the feeling, how they make us feel at this particular moment. And I really like the quotation of Maya Angelou, who has said the following: I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. And I really resonate with them because it's most of the time about feelings. And, let's first have a look at what emotional intelligence is really about. So the official definition is that emotional intelligence is the ability to recognize, understand, and manage one's emotions, as well as effectively recognize and emphasize with the emotions of others. So first of all, the explanation of emotional intelligence started in late 1960s by Dr. Daniel Goldman, and he actually stated and argued that the emotional intelligence accounts for 67% of the abilities deemed necessary for superior performance in business, in fact mattering twice as much as IQ and technical skills. So this I kind of relate as well. But what about the state of emotional intelligence in our current recent world? So here we've got the statistics for the last 4 years, from 2018 to 2022, and you can see that the emotional intelligence in all its spheres took a sharp decline over the last 4 years or so. Especially what concerns the essential core qualities of emotional intelligence, such as navigating emotions, increasing empathy, or pursuing noble goals. What can be the major reasons why emotional intelligence is currently in decline? There are two major factors. One is the global and political one, and the other is the social one. If we speak about the major global reasons why emotional intelligence is decline, first of all, that's of course COVID, which affected us for the previous 3 years or so, when people were connected at home, but really they felt loneliness and they did need help. The other reason for the sharp decline was related to political situations, because we face across different worlds, wars on the European continent in particular, and that can't but affect our physical, mental, and emotional state in general. But there are not only political and global reasons, there are also, or here you can see, by the way, the workplace factors that have wide disparities in IQ scores. And if you see at the last point, IQ, IT, and telecommunications, that's actually where we are. So we can see how low it is in our IT sector. Speaking about the reasons, and yes, by this point you can ask yourself, why is it happening so? Why is emotional intelligence is in decline? What are the main reasons for it? There are actually 5 social reasons why it is in decline. The first one is related to technology and information overload and distracted lifestyles, because we all live in this hectic modern world. We are overloaded with different gadgets and devices, so we really don't have time for face-to-face communication, because we're always testing, we're always on the go, and it affects us. The second point is related to fast-paced lifestyle and stress. Again, we're all stressed at work, we can feel burnt out, and it can't but help leading to the decline of emotional intelligence. The next point that we have is decreased empathy in online space. Of course, social media and different devices and platforms provided us with new avenues for communication, but at the second time, on the background, we can see that we doesn't really feel attuned to emotional states. We do not always may sympathize with people in real life. The fourth point is related to education and parenting approach. Because there are some parenting styles when parents are really strict to their kids, or they're truly demanding, which also influences the mental ability of children to empathize and sympathize to other people in the future. And one more reason is cultural and social norms. As you may know, there are different countries, especially, for example, the culture when I come from, Slavic countries. There are different norms related to boys when they are not allowed to cry or complain because they are considered to be weak in this point. So that's when the young man grows up, he isn't really allowed to reflect or show his feelings, because in this case he is considered to be weak and not strong enough. Let's move on to what major core competencies of emotional intelligence exist nowadays. According to psychologist David Goldman, there are 4 major competencies of emotional intelligence, which are self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, and relationship management, which in each of them will include its own sections, I would say. So let's start with the first one, which is social awareness. So it's one of the essential features of the emotional intelligence, and it involves knowing your strengths, areas of improvement, your emotions and values. It helps you understand how you feel and why you feel that way, like why you feel this emotion at a particular moment. Because lots of us have this situation that we do not always know and understand how we feel in real life. We do not always have the second thought, why am I feeling happy, or why I'm feeling stressed or angry at this particular moment. The second point relates to self-management, and it refers to the ability to manage one's own emotions, thoughts, behaviors in a way that is constructive and aligned with one's goals. So it's about keeping yourself cool in stressful situations and have calm, have peace in order to make the right decision at a particular moment. Point number 3 that we have, core number 3, is social awareness, which describes your ability to recognize others' emotions and dynamic and play with your organization. So I would say it's about active listening to your team members and your colleagues at a particular moment of your life. And it's all about, I would call it reading the room. When you enter the office or you enter a meeting with your colleagues and you know this vibe, this atmosphere which is going on around you and what is happening around you. And the last but not least is related to relationship management, which refers to the ability to influence, coach, and mentor others, as well as resolve conflicts effectively. So basically, if we speak about leadership, it's about negotiations and it's about the possibility to neutralize the conflict and find a resolution to it. If we have a look at the core skills related to emotional intelligence in 2023, we can see that there are 10 top qualities which are related to be important in our environment. The first 2 take analytical thinking and creative thinking, but the third place and up to the 5th are related to emotional intelligence skills, such as resilience, flexibility and agility, motivation and self-awareness, curiosity and lifelong learning, and as well as empathy and active listening and leadership and social influence. If we take a look India, as we're all here with you, we can also have this slice of sector of skill outlook, the skills which are needed to perform well in key and stable roles within the company. You can again see that there is a wide range of different skills, such as cognitive skills, management skills, but again, you see that self-efficiency, working with others, and management skills are among leaders, and they're all also emotional intelligence competencies, according to the survey held in 2023. But let's take a look at how can we improve emotional intelligence in our real life. What can be the tricks, how we can improve it on a daily basis. So the first core competence was about self-awareness. So here are the actions which can be taken. We can start with self-reflection. We can reflect on how you're feeling throughout the day, or notice the triggers that arise particular emotions in our life on a daily basis. We can also keep a journal or write down our thoughts during the day or how we feel at a particular moment to manage it in the future. We can seek feedback from our colleagues on the particular actions that we take. It's not always considered to be weak to ask for help or seek feedback if you hesitate about your decisions. And practice mindfulness. It can be meditation, it can be mindful breathing, or just mindfully observing your thoughts, like concentrating on your thoughts at a particular moment, just observing without judging yourself what kind of influence or emotion you feel at a particular moment of your life. The second part was about practicing self-management, and here are the following recommendations. Again, we can practice mindfulness and thinking about what is going on in our hands. Exercising regularly, because again, it reduces the level of stress which we can have at work. Get adequate sleep. That is the hardest point in our work, I would say, because we always have lack of sleep during the day. Setting boundaries, it's about protecting your space and your ability to say no in particular situations when it doesn't feel comfortable with people. Or again, seeking support without your friends or colleagues if needed. Speaking about developing empathy, we can have the following strategies for it. First of all, we can practice active listening. When we are in conversation with others, we do not only converse for the conversation's sake. We need to truly understand what people are asking, truly listen to them, and provide them with the answers, consciousness answers, I would say. Or asking questions, putting yourself in other people's shoes, showing compassion to people, educate yourself about your team's backgrounds, because let's be honest, not always we know where our teammates came from or what their interests are. For example, I have recently found out that one of my developers is actually a member of the music band, and he was writing lyrics for songs, and that was like a surprise for me. So that's kind of helping to know what the interests are besides working responsibilities. And be vulnerable, which is in no way means that you are weak, and creating safe spaces around you. Speaking about practicing active listening, we can have the following recommendations. So as I have mentioned, we need to give the speaker your full attention, not just to be physically present, but actually being involved in the conversation with them. Respond with authenticity, and British people are in this case is a good example, because if you ever came to England and had a conversation with an Englishman, they all start with this small talk, how are you doing, how is your day? But they do not always really expect any answer from you. They just want to hear that I'm okay, I'm fine, and then let's move on with some other basic topics. But here is the thing, that we need to respond with authenticity and show real interest in our colleagues' ideas and what they want to tell us. Then show interest in what speaker has to say. Of course, it's impolite to interrupt the speaker when they're trying to have conversation with you. And also use some nonverbal clues, for example, such as nods or some hand gestures, which can help your speaker to understand that you're really involved in the conversation with them. Another point is fostering emotional awareness, understanding the source of the conflict, encourage open communication, and remain neutral and impartial. These recommendations are more about resolving conflict and how to stay cool and neutral. Don't take sides when the conflict among your team members or between the boss and your employees arise. Speaking about the skills which can be most prioritized for reskilling and upskilling in the next 4 years, and we're moving on to what the role of emotional intelligence will be in the next 5 years or so. We can see that again, I have taken 2 examples, India and European continent. So you can see that analytical thinking and AI and big data take the first 2 places in both countries. But then again, we come across the emotional intelligence skills which become relevant or needs to be reskilled in the next 5 years, which are creative thinking, leadership and social influence, curiosity and lifelong learning. And here is the fun fact, that in Europe, such emotional intelligence features as talent management and motivation and self-awareness are relevant, where in India they're not. And if we speak about Indian culture, we can see that empathy and active listening is one of the emotional intelligence features that seem relevant to people, as well as service orientation and customer service. How emotional intelligence benefits leaders, you can answer. So we can say that it helps to create a positive work culture within an organization. It also encourages growth, innovation, and creativity in organization. It can help everyone in the organization to put their best foot forward, because when people are truly engaged, when people are motivated, we all can agree that they produce better results, and they try to do their best for all companies' sake. Then we can also make the right decisions in the face of challenges. We're not afraid of them. We can step out of our comfort zone and do more. And build a strong bond between the leader and team members, which is, of course, about healthy working environment. Speaking about why emotional intelligence is important for career advancement and for leaders in general, here are some statistic facts which have been gathered throughout this couple of years or so. So we can say that the demand for emotional skills will grow by 26% by 2030. Emotional intelligence is among top 10 skills most in demand and will be through at least 2025. That's coming back to the chart which I have just presented to you. People with high emotional intelligence make an average of $29,000 per year more than people with low emotional intelligence. So that's the fact that we really need to think about. We all want to to earn more, I would say. 75% of people, managers, use emotional intelligence to gauge employees' readiness for promotion and eligibility for salary increase. And out of 34 essential workplace skills, emotional intelligence was found to be the strongest predictor of performance, explaining a full of 57% of success in different types of jobs. So that's kind of thing we need to think about if we need to improve our emotional skills in the future in 5 years or so. So overall, if we speak about the emotional intelligence, it is a trainable skill in comparison with IQ, which we have all actually been born with, and it's like a static number. Emotional skills are teachable and learnable, and if we try to culture them in ourselves on a daily basis, we can actually do amazing things. And we can see how the work and life balance will change around us and how we communicate with our team members, with our leaders, and the same applies to the leadership, how superior people communicate with their team and what results they can get. So that's kind of information that I wanted to share with you today, and thank you for your time. If you have any questions, feel free. Thank you.